If you're a pet owner, you'll do or spend just about anything to keep your cat or dog safe and healthy. But there's a monthly medication that tens of thousands of pet owners say is making their furry family members sick. On Your Side consumer advocate Jen Strathman is here tonight with an investigation about pets and pesticides.
Well, fleas and ticks are a big concern if you have a pet, but the products used to treat the problem are under fire. And tonight, pet owners across the country are speaking out. Joey likes to lay low. He's only 10 years old, but the last 5 years have not been easy.
Just never stop, never stop.
The bills and the pills piled up after a routine visit to the vet. Joey was simply getting a preventative flea and tick treatment. It was his second dose of Frontline, but Jan says 48 hours later, her healthy dog was lethargic and vomiting.
I wondered every day if he was going to make it.
Jan spent $10,000 to save Joey, and she's not alone. In Texas, it took $5,000 to save Sassy. Across the country, there are stories of survival.
He will probably always have a wobble when he walks.
And loss.
I had to literally put Artie in a coffin and pound the nails in. You know, something I certainly never wanted to have to do.
5 on Your Side looked at hundreds of regulatory documents, government databases, and court cases to find out what's being done to protect your pet from reacting to a flea and tick product. They're sold over the counter by several companies. There are shampoos and powders by companies like Hearts. There are also spot-on products that you apply to the back of your pet, like Frontline and Canine Advantix. While there are lots of options, the EPA says it saw a sharp increase in reported reactions with spot-on products. In 2009, the EPA launched an investigation. Then in 2010, it issued a warning. Complaints have decreased, but our investigation of the latest data found there were still 34,800 complaints in a 16-month period.
You take into account the billions and billions of doses of these flea products that are used on there. How big a percentage is 34,000 compared to billions?
Dr. David Conkle is vice president of the Ohio Veterinary Medical Association. He also has a practice in Northfield. Conkle believes spot-on products are safe.
I'd be willing to bet that upwards of 99% of the adverse reactions that are reported, there's actually something else going on in that animal that contributed to its demise. It was just a coincidence that that flea product was used on them.
There's pushback from other vets too, and product manufacturers. In a letter, Frontline's parent company Murrow told Joey and Sassy's owners that the symptoms of their pet were not consistent with the use of Frontline.
It seems like our problems, even though they're in the thousands and growing, are sort of minimized.
Consumers continue to fight with letter-writing campaigns, websites, and lawsuits. And it's not just consumers. The Humane Society of the United States wants change.
I think we're really only scratching the surface as far as the number of actual injuries and deaths that occur because of these products.
The Humane Society wants a national poison control hotline so complaints are processed in a central location. Right now, consumers complain to the manufacturer, and then that information is passed on to the EPA. Those who've complained still wonder if their situation even ended up at the EPA.
Why would the EPA allow the manufacturers to police themselves?
We asked the EPA for an interview, but our request was denied. Public documents revealed the EPA's own investigation found more detailed data is needed about each reaction. But the EPA still is not gathering that important information.
It's really tough. Federal regulations can take a little while to go into effect.
The EPA is also focusing on labeling changes, saying current warning labels are hard to read, buried in text, or not specific. Still, the EPA believes many of the adverse reactions are caused by misuse, saying pet owners are using dog products on cats and misdosing the product. But remember Jan and her dog Joey? She says she went out of her way to make sure her dog got the right dose.
I went to the vet.
And Jan says her dog still reacted poorly.
Who was there to protect us? We're looking for the EPA to protect us.
That's the reason Portland resident Claudia Tietza says she fought so hard for a meeting with the EPA. She's heard from pet owners across the country through her website, Tiny Timmy. It's a site dedicated to her cat.
I think that they get very isolated listening to industry and listening to regulations and you know, dealing with all those things that sometimes it's difficult to really get a good pulse on what's happening in reality out in the world.
In the real world, Claudia says pet owners are reporting problems with all flea and tick products, whether it's shampoo, a spray, or a spot-on. Claudia even says her case started with a spray, not a spot-on treatment. Those complaints are all over the country, including here in Cleveland. Just this spring, Brian Ginley says his cat died after applying a powder.
The worst part about here, and then the worst part about up here is knowing I went to the store and bought that stuff.
It's stuff that's still on our shelves. All the products are mixed together, but the EPA is only focused on the drops. Even though vets like Dr. Conkle believe spot-on treatment is safer than all your other options.
People are still using them. Should they be pulled off the shelves?
There's just no reason to use those old products. They're just not safe enough anymore.
Lawyers across the country are filing lawsuits against the makers of many of these products. Some suits question safety, while this one, just filed in Cleveland, calls the marketing misleading. The Willoughby pet owner didn't want to talk, but says lawyers want to push to consolidate all of these cases. Again, the complaints are for a variety of products. We contacted the major companies, and they all say their product is safe and complaints are low. You can read their full statements on newsnet5.com and join in on the conversation on Twitter with the hashtag WEWSPets. On your side, Jen Strathman, News Channel 5. After pet owners shared their experience with over-the-counter flea and tick products on television,
I wondered every day if he was going to make it.
we heard other stories from pet owners and even professionals.
It's been kind of a long time coming.
At Big Creek Pet Hospital in Middleburg Heights, Dr. John Sauter says he's seen mild and even severe reactions to spot-on products. These are the drops you apply to the back of your pet. Our investigation of EPA data found more than 34,000 reported reactions in the last 16 months.
They get a couple cases where they're like, is something really going on with these products?
But Dr. David Conkle feels it's not the product that's to blame. He is vice president of the Ohio Veterinary Medical Association, and he has a practice in Northfield.
I'd be willing to bet that upwards of 99% of the adverse reactions that are reported, there's actually something else going on in that animal that contributed to its demise. It was just a coincidence that that flea product was used on them.
The Environmental Protection Agency continues its 3-year investigation into spot-on products. Until then, Big Creek is recommending prescription medicines to treat fleas because they're regulated by a different government agency.
We feel more comfortable with it knowing that the FDA stands behind this product.
While this doctor has his favorite brands, there are others on the market. They typically cost more, but doctors say they may save you money too.
I ended up spending $10,000 of my savings.
All to save her dog, Choey. On your side, Jen Strathman, News Channel 5.
Always check with your vet for recommendations. On our Facebook page, some pet owners say they're using natural products to get rid of fleas and ticks. You can read more about those in the consumer section of newsnet5.com.
We turn our attention to a prescription flea and tick product that one pet owner says turned his dog's hair black and worse. On your side, consumer advocate Jen Strathman has the warning.
You can only get Advantage Multi from a vet. It treats fleas, ticks, heartworm, and other parasites. But a local pet owner says trying this sample caused more damage than he ever expected to his dog and its crate.
Come here, Neela. Neela.
Neela is the latest addition to Kevin Kendall's home. The bundle of energy is just what Kevin needed after losing his other companion.
We had to have our Golden put to sleep in August because of kidney failure. I mean, we had her for 11 years.
So at 11 weeks, Kevin wasn't expecting to have problems with his latest Golden.
As soon as I opened the door, there was a loud yelp.
Kevin ran over to Neela's cage and noticed her fur was black, right where he applied Advantage Multi hours earlier. It's a topical flea, tick, and heartworm product, and it's regulated by the Food and Drug Administration.
My first thought was, well, you know, the medicine discolored her hair. I didn't look any further.
Later, Kevin noticed this odd mark on the crate's plastic tray. When he rubbed it, he realized it was Neela's hair.
I couldn't believe it. She was basically glued her to the bottom of the crate.
5 on Your Side found another case reported in Canada, this time with a poodle. They
incident was published in the Veterinary Information Network. It's a U.S. company that allows vets to exchange information on industry topics. A vet reported a poodle got stuck in a crate after using Advantage. There are several different Advantage products by Bayer. We tried to get more information from the veterinary hospital, but they declined to comment for privacy reasons. And the doctor who treated the dog no longer works there.
I went back through the box. I read the box. I read the paper that was in the box just to be sure I didn't miss something. And there's nowhere, anywhere in print that says our product causes this.
The product contains benzyl alcohol, and there's a warning for people who are sensitive to the liquid. The fine print, though, says nothing about benzyl alcohol and plastic, but some chemical companies warn their customers. On this material safety data sheet, it says benzyl alcohol will attack some plastics.
You don't expect to come home and see your dog glued to the bottom of a crate. It's that simple, and they're not letting you know that.
Bayer Healthcare manufactures Advantage Multi. After 2 weeks, the company still hasn't answered our questions or provided a statement. We also checked with the government agency that regulates this product. The Food and Drug Administration didn't have any other cases like this one. Now, if you have an incident with any product, make sure you look on the packaging, often on the back, and see who regulates it, and then report the problem. On your side, Jen Strathman, News Channel 5.